Ukrainian and Russian forces fought pitched battles for the control of Bakhmut, the Donetsk city that has been the focal point of Moscow's push in the Donbas, amid reports about advances by Kyiv in some parts of the front as Ukraine prepares for a long-anticipated counteroffensive. Ukrainian defenders repelled 44 Russian attacks over the past 24 hours in Bakhmut, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported in its daily bulletin on May 12. Adding that Moscow's forces kept on pounding the Bakhmut-Avdiyivka-Maryinka front line that has seen the fiercest fighting over the past several months. Russia meanwhile rushed to deny reports on May 11 of Ukrainian advances in several areas, including Bakhmut, although such reports came from pro-Moscow military bloggers and even from Yevgeni Prigozhin, the Kremlin-connected chief of the Wagner mercenary group whose fighters have been at the forefront of the battle in Donetsk. The Russian Defense Ministry denied the reports, saying the overall situation in the area of the special military operation is under control, while Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov put on an optimistic face, saying Moscow's special military operation against Ukraine, the term used by Russia to refer to its large-scale invasion, is very difficult, but certain goals have been achieved. Prigozhin went so far as to claim on May 11 that Ukraine's counteroffensive was already underway. In the area of Bakhmut, he said, Ukrainian armed forces were hitting our flanks and, unfortunately, in some places they are being successful. President Volodymyr Zelensky dismissed the reports, saying in an interview with European broadcasters that Kyiv is delaying the start of the counteroffensive because it lacks enough Western weapons to succeed without suffering too many casualties. Zelensky said it's possible that we can go forward and be successful, the BBC reported. But we'd lose a lot of people. I think that's unacceptable, he was quoted as saying. So we need to wait. We still need a bit more time. In terms of equipment, not everything has arrived yet. Ukraine's preparations for a counteroffensive received an important boost on May 11 when Britain announced it was supplying long-range cruise missiles to Ukraine, giving Kyiv the capability to hit Russian troops well behind front lines. Defense Minister Ben Wallace confirmed to British lawmakers that the United Kingdom will donate Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. The use of Storm Shadow will allow Ukraine to push back Russian forces based within Ukrainian sovereign territory, he added without specifying how many are being delivered. Storm Shadow missiles, which have a range of more than 250 kilometers, give Ukraine the capacity to strike well behind Russian front lines and as far as Moscow-occupied Crimea. British media reports said Kyiv had promised not to use the missiles to strike inside Russia's territory. The Kremlin threatened appropriate measures to respond to London's move. It will demand an appropriate response from our military that will definitely make the decisions required in military terms, spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Russia late Thursday denied claims by pro-Moscow bloggers and the head of the Wagner mercenary group that Ukrainian troops had made a breakthrough in the flashpoint city of Bakhmut. A senior Ukrainian military official said earlier this week that Russian forces had dropped back from some areas near Bakhmut after limited counter-attacks by Kyiv's forces around the eastern city. The head of Russia's Wagner private military company Yevgeni Prigozhin, whose forces are on the front line of the battle for Bakhmut, has acknowledged for 3 days that some Ukrainian units were successfully breaking through in some areas. The individual declarations on Telegram about a breakthrough on several points on the front line do not correspond to reality, the Defense Ministry said in a statement. Bakhmut, which once had a population of around 70,000 people, has been destroyed as Russian forces have posted incremental gains over recent months, amounting to some 80% of the city. Russia's defense ministry said it has repulsed several Ukrainian attacks in the course of the day, adding that the ongoing battle on Thursday evening occurred near Malinivka in the eastern Donetsk region and involved both air power and artillery. It did not comment on reports over alleged withdrawals by Russian troops near Bakhmut but said its forces were continuing to liberate the western parts of the city. The general situation in the special military operations zone is under control, it added. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday said it needs more time before beginning a highly anticipated counter-offensive against Russian forces. Mentally we're ready, Zelensky told the BBC. In terms of equipment, not everything has arrived yet. With what we have, we can go forward and be successful. But we'd lose a lot of people. I think that's unacceptable. So we need to wait. We still need a bit more time, he was quoted as saying. Russia has already lost about 197,670 troops in Ukraine plus 750 over the past day. The relevant statement was made by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. Ukrainian soldiers have advanced 2 kilometers toward Bakhmut and haven't lost any positions in the area in the past week, Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said on May 12. According to Maliar, Russian troops failed to implement their plans and suffered heavy losses of manpower on the front line. At the same time, the enemy gives false information about the lack of weapons, which probably aims to justify the real situation, the Ukrainian official added. She likely referred to Wagner Group boss Yevgeni Prigozhin's recent rant directly blaming Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and General Staff Head Valery Gerasimov for the fighters' deaths, saying that Wagner was being deprived of the ammunition to continue the assault on Bakhmut. Meanwhile, the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces reported in its May 12 morning update that Russian forces continued offensive operations in Donetsk Oblast's Bakhmut. Ukraine's latest advance in Bakhmut was first reported on May 10 by Colonel General Alexander Syrsky, the commander of Ukraine's land forces, who said that Russian troops could not resist the onslaught of the Ukrainian defenders and retreated to a distance of up to 2 kilometers. Late on May 11, several Russian military bloggers reported that Ukraine had allegedly started the counteroffensive and gained some positions in Donetsk Oblast's Bakhmut. Russian Defense Ministry denied such claims, saying, the general situation remains under control. On the same day, Prigozhin accused President Volodymyr Zelensky of lying after he said in an interview that Ukraine needed more time to prepare for the counteroffensive. Prigozhin, the head of Russia's state-backed private mercenary group, said on his Telegram channel that Ukraine's counteroffensive was allegedly in full swing. Ukrainian military officials earlier warned, as cited by CNN, that the counterattacks around Bakhmut mentioned by Prigozhin are part of a positional struggle, and not necessarily connected to a greater counteroffensive effort. A senior U.S. military official and a top Western official have told CNN that Ukraine's armed forces began shaping operations ahead of the long-awaited counteroffensive. Shaping, a standard tactic developed before major joint operations, involves attacking targets such as weapons depots, command centers, armored vehicles, and artillery systems to prepare the battlefield for the advancing force.